guys, I'm really excited to talk to you today about a book I just finished last night. It's called The Masque of the Red Death by Bethany Griffin. And this book has been sitting on my Nook forever and I haven't opened it. And finally I just finished a few books and I was like, yeah, okay, we'll try this. I've never heard anything about it. I've never heard of Bethany Griffin. So I've just started reading it and it took me like 3 days and I just blew through it. And the only reason it didn't take me like a day is because I wanted to I didn't want it to end. It was so good. I mean, the novel as a whole isn't super well written. There's a lot of parts where I'm like, wait, what just happened? Because you didn't really explain that, and all of a sudden she's talking to someone who's there. Like little stuff like that, but it didn't bother me so much that I couldn't enjoy the awesome plot, and I really loved the characters. This is a steampunk novel. I haven't read any steampunk books since I finished Scott Westerfeld's Leviathan series, so it's definitely something that it took me a little bit to get back into, but I love steampunk. I always thought it was really cool. This is a really dark gothic novel. Really haunting. It's basically a steampunk novel about a plague. Masque of the Red Death, for those of you that don't know, is also the title of a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, in which this guy, Prince Prospero, who's also in the book Masque of the Red Death that I just read, in Poe's story, Prince Prospero had this plague going on called the Red Death, and he invites all the nobles into his abbey to hide from it, and he has a masked party, and the Red Death is supposed to be a character that comes in and they actually it kills Prince Prospero in the end. It's kind of like an inevitability of death, but Bethany Griffin's really taken that short story and made it like an entirely steampunky plague novel, which is really cool. So basically our main character is Araby. She is 17, I think, and her father is a scientist who created these special masks that everyone can wear to escape the first plague that happened about 4 years ago when this novel starts. Araby had a brother who died during this time, and so she's almost at the point where she doesn't really feel like living much anymore, and she's, you know, really rich because of the invention, but her father's under Prince Prospero's thumb. He has to do basically everything the prince tells him, and the prince is super evil, so obviously there we go. But basically Araby spends her time like trying to create some type of oblivion in her life. She doesn't like to think about what's actually happening around her, and so she goes to this debauchery club where everyone does drugs and drinks, and all the noble people wear the masks, and everyone in the club you know, is plague free, and they're kind of like the nobles of the society, and she's really drawn to a guy there who checks her, you know, to make sure she doesn't have the plague every time she walks in, and eventually, his name's Will, and eventually she gets to know Will, and she has a best friend named April who has a brother named Elliot, who she eventually kind of meets with as well. So kind of like most YA novels these days, we have two boys in the main girl's life, Elliot and Will. Elliot is this high-class guy who wants to start a revolution, and Will is this mysterious guy that works at the club who takes care of his two younger siblings, and they don't have masks, so that's scary. Everyone wears their masks everywhere, so it's a really big deal. I don't want to give too much away because it's just a really cool plot, but towards the end a new plague starts, and so there's this panic, and there's a sequel that I'm really looking forward to read. I just downloaded it last night, so I'm really looking forward to picking it up. Like I said, it's a very interesting concept. It's not as original because it's based off of that Edgar Allan Poe short story, which I suggest you read. I mean, I read it like halfway through this book. I was like, oh, this seems familiar, and I was like, okay, it's a Poe short story, and so I read that really quick and then went back into the book, just kind of giving me a full picture of it. Bethany Griffin, who wrote it, is a high school English teacher, I think, so it makes a lot of sense that this is something that she wrote because of something she was inspired by that she probably taught. But the steampunk edge to it and the Victorian-esque era that's going on is very cool. But also we have this incredible scientific discovery, so it's like in the past, but it's not, with these masks that once you breathe into the mask, it's basically your mask, no one else can use it. It's very, so everyone wants a mask. You can't just steal masks off someone, you have to have your own. It's very elitist, and Prince Prospero basically makes it that way by being a big douchebag. So yeah, Araby's our main character. I really like her. I love Will, I love Elliot. There's definitely like really cool inventions in here, really cool concept. So I highly suggest you check it out. Masque of the Red Death by Bethany Griffin. And there's a sequel called Dance of the Red Death, which gorgeous covers. Here they are. Blah. I love those covers. So yeah, it's a very, very cool book. I just like ripped through it. Like I said, not the best as far as like well written. There's definitely parts where I'm like, wait a minute, what? But I didn't let it get in the way of a good story. So I recommend that if you're into steampunk stuff, you're into Victorian era stuff, you're into sci-fi, plagues, people that are into plagues, I don't know. Check this book out, it's really cool. I highly recommend it, and I'll leave you with that. So yeah, okay, see you guys soon with more reviews. Bye!